Today we're taking a look at the Tarleton State vs. Dixie State match, which is happening on Saturday, March 13, 2021, and giving you my betting tips and predictions in general on this game. Welcome back to High Stakes. Let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. The Tarleton Texans will travel to the Greater Zion Stadium on Saturday night to take on the Dixie State Trailblazers in some FCS spring football. These teams played back on February 27th, where the Trailblazers won 26-14 on the road. In that game, junior quarterback Cody Wilstead finished 21 of 38 for 350 yards and a touchdown, while Stephen Duquesne went just 10 of 18 for 78 yards. The Texans are 2-2 and are coming off a 39-14 win over the Mississippi College Choctaws. In the game, junior quarterback Stephen Duncan went 18 for 28 for 259 yards and a touchdown. The Trailblazers are 1-1 and are coming off a 36-29 road loss to the New Mexico State Aggies, where Cody Wilstead went 25 of 37 for 359 yards and a pair of touchdowns. These programs both are top 30 offenses in the league, so it will be interesting to see which defense can get a few key third down stops and force some punts. Let's take a deeper dive into this game to determine where we should bet. Tarleton State won't be happy with how they performed back in February, but won't let that one game ruin the progress they've seen in just a short amount of time. The Texans already have a blowout win over FBS New Mexico State and hung around with McNeese, dropping the game in double overtime in the season opener. The same New Mexico State team that the Texans blew out beat Dixie State last weekend, and will lead the Texans coaching staff to some serious soul-searching to see how to overcome the earlier season loss to the Trailblazers. A win should see the Tarleton improve on their 9 votes in the latest FCS Top 25 poll. The Texans are led by a quarterback by committee between Cameron Burston, who really struggled against Dixie State but led the way against New Mexico State, and Western Kentucky transfer Stephen Duncan, who has averaged 238 yards per game in 2 games against McNeese and last time out. Duncan would be expected to be the starter, and after putting up 1,000 passing yards as a sophomore at WKU in 2018, has the experience to lead the Texans in the rematch. On the ground, Raheem Skinner has come on strong and gashed Dixie State for 197 yards on 31 carries in their first meeting. Also, look for Gabe Douglas to continue his strong start and build off his 190 receiving yard performance against New Mexico State. These two teams have already faced off once so far this season, and it was Dixie State that was able to come away with a 26-14 victory. At halftime of that game, Dixie State was up 17-7, and they never looked back as they cruised to a victory. At quarterback in that game, Dixie State was led by Cody Wilstead, who finished the game putting up 350 yards and a touchdown. Raheem Skinner had a big game on the ground for Tarleton State, finishing 197 yards and a touchdown. After winning that first game of the season against Tarleton State, they were defeated in the second game of the year against New Mexico State. The offense was able to put up 29 points in that game, but the defense struggled, giving up 36 points, and that led to the defeat. Dixie State has to have confidence coming off their earlier win against Tarleton State, but an incomplete performance against New Mexico State has them back at the drawing table trying to put together the pieces before the Texans come to town. The first meeting saw the Trailblazers outperform the Texans in total yardage, dominate in passing yardage, win the possession and turnover battles, and commit fewer penalties. A full game like that again will surely see Dixie State move to 2-1 on the season and continue to build off 10 votes in this week's FCS Top 25 poll. True freshman Quali Conley has been one of the most complete players in FCS off the bat in only 2 games, leading the Trailblazers across all rushing and receiving categories. Conley is averaging 81.5 rushing yards and a touchdown a game, while also getting involved in the receiving game out of the backfield to the tune of 7 total catches for 158 yards and a touchdown. Expect Tarleton staff to have a much improved idea of where his involvement in the rematch, now that they know what he's fully capable of. At quarterback is former BYU slinger Cody Wilstead, who torched the Texans for 350 passing yards and a touchdown in the first meeting. The Dixie State defense will be the key in the rematch. After forcing 5 Tarleton State turnovers in the first meeting, the key between the two teams will be how Conley is involved. Expect both teams to make changes from the game plan in the first matchup, and see how they evolve during the course of the game. If the Trailblazer staff can find unique opportunities for Wilstead to get Conley the ball in different situations, Dixie State has a great chance to get the win again. So here's my 3 betting suggestions for that game. Dixie State won the first game between the two teams this year, but I think that is going to change in this game. Tarleton State is the more talented team and they are going to have no issue getting the job done in this game. Tarleton State is going to run up the score and that will lead to them coming away with a win and a cover of the spread. My first betting advice for you is to pick Tarleton State -5. Tarleton State will come into this game with 2 keys that will dictate how the game goes. The first is that the quarterback situation should be in a better state than it was in the first meeting, especially with Douglas back at WR and some more consistency from the offense as a whole. The second is that there's no way Tarleton State allows Conley to have the day he did in the first meeting. The Texans are a really good team and showed that in the drubbing of New Mexico State, and will avenge their early season loss to Dixie State by not just covering, but winning outright. My second betting advice for you is to pick under 57. On the other side of this matchup is Tarleton State, who sit with a 2-2 record overall, and one of those wins came against New Mexico State. The offense was able to put up 43 points in that game against New Mexico State, and that led to the victory. In the last game against Mississippi College, Tarleton State was led by Stephen Duncan, who finished the game throwing for 259 yards and a touchdown. Skinner had another big game rushing for 106 yards and a touchdown. In this game it's going to be about the offense running up the score again, and making life tough on the Dixie State defense. My third betting advice for you is to pick Tarleton State on your money line. Good luck to all of you. That's it for this video. Stay tuned and stay safe for the next betting tips and advice.